Welcome to Beach Jam Media, your resource-driven oasis with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. Join us each week as we dive into hot topics and essential materials for individuals and businesses. We invite you to get your feet wet and explore life's offerings. From insightful discussions to practical advice, we're here to navigate the tides of change together. Come join us for Beach Jam Media, where knowledge flows endlessly and where the currents of insight never stop. So come on, let's get our feet wet and explore what's waiting for us on the beach.
I like that opener. Good morning. Glad you're here with us. Without further ado, let's jump in and get our feet wet. Good morning, Chanel. How are you doing this morning? Can't hear you.
I am here.
There you are. Good morning.
Like my hat said, eat please.
Right. How's the weather out there?
It's gorgeous today. Absolutely bright, sunny, gorgeous. Will be in the mid 70s. I mean, just absolutely perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
All we're missing is the wave.
The wave?
Yeah, if I was sitting on the beach, I'm about 20 miles from it.
Yes. Right. Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here too. It's supposed to get a little bit warm this week. So,
yeah.
Trying to do everything I can in the morning outside. So, kind of got to flip all that.
Heading into summer.
Yes, absolutely. And that was one of the things that was on my mind. You've mentioned it a couple times. What do you do for the summer? So the kids are almost out, right? For summer. Here, their last day is today. Today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because today's Wednesday. So, parents, what do you do with them? What do you do with the kids? They're out, you're working. What do you do with them? So I think it's kind of like a reinvention every spring, because May is still spring. I think official summer is tomorrow, right?
It is.
So, yeah. So what do you do with the kids for the summer? What do you do with yourself for the summer? If you work from home, or you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, right? What do you have to almost reinvent yourself and your environment for the summer. So, what did you, because your kids are grown, right? What did you do with your kids?
I had grown kids, but we started that process pretty early on in the spring to figure out what the summer was going to look like. Generally took a week for a family vacation. We did it usually there's a UC Berkeley alumni camp, and we almost every year did that. But for the rest of the time, it was really focused generally around summer camps. We were a big summer camp family. Some of the areas around in Northern California have just some gorgeous summer camps. My youngest, actually, she went to camp several years up in the Pacific Northwest outside of the Seattle area. So I'm just a real believer in the summer camp because it's supervised yet gives the children and the young adults and the teenagers some sense of autonomy, and that they can go and select activities to do and keep themselves busy with things that during the remainder of the year they don't get to do. So I know that's first and foremost on a lot of my clients' minds right now that have young children is, what are they going to do to keep them active and yet give them the freedom that, summer should have for a young kid, and not keep them too held down to a schedule. So
Right. Give
Fortunately,
them that break.
yeah, and fortunately, there's so many options in the summer for anything that would be of interest, whether it be a sports camp, an art camp, a music camp. Um, there are a lot of both day and overnight options for people. So I find that I think more than anything, the summer camp is sort of the number one choice because as more and more in the last several years, one or both parents, if it's a dual parent household or if it's a single parent household, they're working in part from home. So they really need
Hmm.
to kind of be able to have something that traditional school time would take up.
Right, absolutely. And I know a lot of parents have chosen to one of them to stay home and with the kids and things like that, especially after COVID, right? A lot of parents now work from home, my husband included, which I am not complaining at all. I like him being home. But when he's working.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, okay, I still have to take everybody everywhere and do my job and, homeschool, and because we go year round. Um, so you got to kind of, I'm not filling up that time. I don't want it to sound like it's a bother or anything, but I think most parents are struggling with that, and all the resources. I think it comes back to what questions need to be asked. And I think the question is, what resources are in the counties around you? Or if you're willing to drive like Northern California, well, you live there. So, it's not that far of a drive to go to Northern California.
Yeah.
But I
But
think,
I think you're bringing up a good point. It's what resources are around and using it as a time for discovery. What is it that we can enhance the life of our kids during the summertime or the new season? As you mentioned, some are year round schools like you are. But during this new season, what is it that we can help, our kids discover? Because during the year they get so busy with whatever it is their scheduling is. What are they not doing during the traditional year that they could discover? They could be
right,
fortunate like yourself that lives on a huge piece of land. And so just the land itself, there's a lot of nature and resources and things to discover. But even within the families that live in cities, there's a lot of programs out there that help kids discover, do they love music? Do they love a new sport? Do they love anything that art, as an example? And using the community resources that were there. So in San Francisco, we're very fortunate. There's a number of museums. And I was reading recently how they have a lot of kids' days at these museums where they open it up to families, open it up to kids. So they're getting an enriching experience that they may not during the regular school year.
right. Exactly. And a million things went through my head when you were mentioning the museums and stuff like that, and I was writing notes. But it is, and that was one of my things on my notes was museums. Museums have camps for kids. Well, a lot of them do. They have a week long camp for kids. I know the Museum of Aviation in Warner Robins has STEM classes for the kids.
Mm,
And so you can sign up for them. They have them specific dates and which ones you want to, you can sit down with your kids and say, hey, this is what they're offering this day. Do you want to go robotics one day, space another day? So they have a lot of good things to do for the kids, but that's just one day a week, right?
yeah,
You need to fill up the other four, I guess,
yeah,
if you're doing a 9 to 5 or whatever time frame you need them, to be occupied during the day. But you still have to take them, right? So
And
if you don't have,
exactly.
but if you don't have like museums, music, you brought up a good thing, music, have them do, I know during COVID, Patrick was learning the guitar and they went to online lessons, Zoom lessons,
Okay.
it doesn't, so it doesn't have to be you take them somewhere. You
Right.
can do it virtually, the music lessons,
Yeah.
see what.
I think it's a matter of being resourceful, right? So, even with
Absolutely.
parents, I know there's a lot of, again, a lot of my clients that are parents, they're organizing with other parents that week so that
Mhm.
they share transportation. If they're going to do something for 5 days, they get a number of kids together. One parent will take Monday, one will take Tuesday. So, then you narrow that down to one pickup time. And I also am having a lot of conversations with clients, again, with primarily preteen and teenage kids, about a
Mhm.
lot of them want to earn money during the summer. A
Right,
lot of them want to do things that can earn them some money, some spending money that they don't have necessarily time during their traditional school year to do. So, it
right,
really brings me to the point of what you were sharing with me as an example of what Patrick did, which is Patrick through um, I believe it was the 4-H organization, although I could be wrong in that, but they
yes,
were teaching the, again, preteens and teenagers how to upcycle, how to recycle, things that people have in their homes that they're just discarding, and how do they make
right,
that beautiful new furniture again or beautiful new decorative items again. And I think that's a case where if you use the time during the summer to teach them, because then Patrick can resell that, right? As a way of
right.
not only just taking up time and doing something you're interested in, but then making some money on it or doing some, things around the neighborhood that the neighbors would support. So,
Absolutely. And we live in a rural area, so the social media platforms would be perfect for him selling things, or like Stripe has their own, you can do your own things, websites to sell things, or Etsy. Etsy's so saturated though, but I mean, yes, absolutely. Do something out of the ordinary. Try something
yeah.
new. Go hiking in a local forest. Go to a state park. State parks. I mean, I think our state park pass. If I think the lowest one is $80, but
Okay.
you can go all year round. And you can go fishing, you can go hiking, you can go, I mean, there's so many things to do within
Mhm.
your area. And it comes down to asking those questions, right?
Yeah.
Asking those questions. So I did write down um, a few things. So our nearest big town is Macon, right?
Okay.
And so they have a few, like they have, it's a start. I think it's called Startup. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on Riverside Drive for those of you who are in the Middle Georgia area. And they do a lot of classes, a lot of cool classes. Now they're kind of pricey, but they do a lot of, for example, they have a glass blowing class that
Oh,
I have yet to get to, but I want to do it. And so they do different things like um, through the seasons. And for example, like in the fall, they'll do a pumpkin. Now, pumpkins are my thing, right? So I think I'm going to wait till the fall to do it. But, just things like that you can do with your kids, the older ones, obviously, for that one. But art classes, like you said, I know there's a few teachers that have retired around
Hmm.
here, and they've said, okay, well, I want to do art classes for the summer for kids, or just to um, do it throughout the year, and maybe for homeschool kids, to supplement whatever curriculum that they're doing. But I mean, you mentioned 4-H. 4-H, our 4-H has a ton of activities for the kids to do during the summer. Now we line up at 7:30 in the morning to sign our
Yeah.
kids up for these because they go fast. But check with your county,
Hmm.
what do they have, what events do they have going on? Because I know our cities around here have event planners. So they plan events. If you don't know, call them and ask them. If you can't find it on the website, call them and ask them. Um, so 4-H, you mentioned, I'll go back. 4-H, we have a lot of activities, and then your local FFA, they might have activities too for the summer. I know we are going to with 4-H, so we do archery and hunting skills. But we will do. They stop, uh, in May, but as one of the coaches for those two shooting skills, um, I will do things with the kids throughout the summer, so we keep that going. We'll just go to. There's a local wildlife management area that has a rifle range. It's got an archery range, and it's got a handgun range. And so, but they're all right there, in the same vicinity, so we can go and make a day of it and just keep that traction going, for the kids because they enjoy it. So do I.
Yeah.
so, but your 4-H or FFA, Vacation Bible Schools study, Vacation Bible School, I guess it's called, right? Um,
I think
I
that's
don't
what
know.
it's called.
Yeah. So I don't know if your temple does it, right? They're called temples.
Yes. Synagogue,
Okay.
temple.
Synagogue, yeah, yeah. So I don't know if they do that in your synagogue, but so there's a lot of churches around here and in Colorado where we live, that do vacation Bible schools.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
so, that's a
very
week long.
typical.
Yeah. So look at the church
Yeah.
around you, whatever church you go to or the churches around you. That's a great way to see if you like the church too. Because if you go to the vacation Bible study, then, or volunteer to help if you can, and see what the people are like. That's a great way to try them out. The,
Absolutely. I also think it's a really good time, and I know I did this a lot with my kids as they were growing up. As I say, my children are now adults in the world, but
right.
I think it's a great time to involve them with the household.
Mm,
Typically, they don't really take the time to understand what's it like to run a household. And in your case, it's not just a household, but it's a household and a huge piece of property. But whatever it is, from a small house to a large piece of land, there are things that need to get taken care of. And I think it's presented to the kids in a fun way, that they can have some creative impact on it. Or, a couple times I can remember during the summer painting the kids' rooms because they wanted new colors, or rearranging stuff. Um, it's just a fun way to get them involved with what's going on around the house, and give them a little piece of insight as to what's it like to run a household and cook the meals and keep the schedule. And maybe if you're fortunate to have some room to plant some seeds and some plants in the spring, by summer they'll start to have some bounty into the midsummer and into fall. So they can help tend to the garden, pick from the garden, maybe make things from the garden, cooking wise. So,
Yes, absolutely. No, and that's a great idea because you're right. We as parents, we just do, right? We run the
right.
house and we don't give them insight. But no, that's a great way to do that. Even the money management, right? This is a great way. That's a great way to introduce money management and wealth management and things like that. No, that's a fantastic idea. I know we were late in doing our garden this year. I'm still planting, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And but we all chip in for it, right? The We have water going down to our garden, but one of the spigots broke, and then the we found out that the main valve had broken. So Tim went down there yesterday, my husband. He went down there yesterday and he fixed that for us. And I'm like, well, you better, I need this stuff because I've got seedlings in the ground. I need water. But so he fixed that. I mean, it takes a family just like it takes a community, So, but and I guess that is your community, right? When you're at home and you have all this stuff to
Sure.
do. But yeah, absolutely. And it's great because a lot of times I have herbs out in another garden. And so I'll tell
Mm,
Patrick, hey, would you go pick this for me? So for to use for dinner. And he's getting to that age where he can cook by himself and he makes a really mean baked mac and cheese. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's really good. I'll have him make it for you when you come. But
yes.
it's but yes, if you involve them, I think that's the key, involving them in your life and you're involved in their life, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about was water parks or what's the word I'm looking for? Amusement parks.
Yeah.
Um, I know we have, there's a water park in Warner Robins, and then there's a couple other in Atlanta, and Atlanta's the next major town, right? So there's plenty of things to do there. There's zoos. Oh, and if you go to your library, a lot of the libraries I am finding out have passes, free
Yes.
passes for you to go and do things, right?
Yeah.
So use your resources. So your library is a resource, the local colleges and universities that you were talking about earlier. Um, they'll have summer camps, sports camps. Sports are huge down in the South. So, sports camps are very prevalent. So you shouldn't have a problem finding a sports camp. Have them try a new sport, archery, for example. We're big into archery, so have them try something different.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll catch on. Go to a coach. There's plenty. If you go on usaarchery.org, you can find a coach near you. You just plug in your zip code and you can find a coach closest to you. And it just, your your resources are endless if you know which questions to ask. And if
Yes.
you
And
don't, then find somebody who knows where the stuff is, and
yeah.
knows what questions to ask.
And I think that's part of the reinventing, is just taking anything. And in this case, we're talking about summer activities and just exploring and learning
Mhm.
what's new. And I think, again, not the real small children, but, anytime the kids get to 9, 10, preteen, teens, I think one of the most important things of the whole summer is get them involved in the planning instead of all year long they're kind of conditioned to this is when school starts, this is what we're doing, this is the extracurriculars, this is the sports, this is this time, this is at 4, this is at 8, this is, and what's so beautiful is them to be able to take a pause. And believe me, even 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds, they can start to plan. They can look
Yes.
to weeks and determine, I want to do this day, and we'll plan this day, and then this day. So they could kind of learn the succession process of planning it. If it involves the family or it involves a day trip, gives the parents time to organize that. But I think that is a main component of it, is the involvement from as early age as possible to what's happening and teaching them that planning skill.
Absolutely. And so, something that popped into my head was, I got really tired, and I'm sure a lot of parents do. I got tired of coming up with stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was, yeah, and to involve my daughter, what I did was I took a shoebox and we decorated it, and then we took note cards and we sat down as a family and we wrote on there all the stuff that we like to do and maybe some new things, like play
That's
games.
great.
Yeah, so we put all these note cards into the shoebox, and then when we couldn't come up with something that we wanted to do, we just pick a card, or she would pick a card, and that's what we would do that day.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, and you can even have, and so in Georgia, well, we don't go outside during the summer when it gets super hot, but you can have an indoor and an outdoor one, a shoebox that you can choose from. Okay, these are indoor activities and these are outdoor activities. So you can say, okay, well, even though it's a beautiful day, we don't want to go outside today.
Yeah.
So we're going to have, we're going to do that. But, bringing the military into it, that's a great way. The shoe boxes are a great way to, you look at what's around you in a new town, and you say, okay, this is what's happening, and this is the places that we want to go. Let's put it in a shoebox and do an adventure once a week or once every other week or something. So I mean, speaking of military, it is Military Appreciation Month, and we want to express our thanks for all the military members who have served and are serving. But I think we're almost out of time because we want to run that video, that military appreciation video. So you guys can join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can't join us live. You can catch us on the replay on YouTube. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at beachjammedia, that's 2 M's, at gmail.com. Again, that's beachjammedia@gmail.com. And Chanel, it was great to talk to you today. And
it was likewise. And we would be remiss if we didn't thank you for your service, your many years of service in the Navy, in the military, and I would say your service afterwards, because that's what this is all about, is you have discovered resources that you're helping others in your communities. And now we've expanded this on this podcast and on this live stream as well. So thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And we will have, this is next week, we're going to kick off some more military items, but we'll get to that next week. So anyways, thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, AMP2 Media. And we will see you next week at the beach.
In the calm of early morning, when the day begins anew, we pause to reflect. May holds a special significance beyond just being another month. It is time for solemn remembrance, gratitude, and honoring those who've made tremendous sacrifice for our freedom. To all who served in the military, across all branches, and the National Guard, to the veterans, and to the families who support them through thick and thin, we express our heartfelt thanks. Your courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication inspired us deeply. As we commemorate Military Appreciation Month, we recognize the importance of standing by our newest recruits. Those brave individuals venturing into an unknown, responding to duties called with determination, deserve our utmost respect and guidance. Equally important is our commitment to support those actively serving in the Air Force, Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Marines, Space Force, and National Guard. Whether deployed abroad or stationed at home, they carry out their duties with honor and integrity. It is our responsibility to ensure they have the resources, care, and unwavering support necessary to fulfill their missions. So, as we observe Military Appreciation Month, let's unite in gratitude and solidarity. Let's honor the past, support the present, and inspire the future. To all who serve, have served, and those who stand beside them, we extend our deepest appreciation. Happy Military Appreciation Month.
Thank you for tuning in to Beach Jam Media with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. We hope today's dive into hot topics and valuable resources left you feeling refreshed and inspired. Our mission is to keep you informed and engaged as we ride the waves of what washes up in life together. Until next time, stay curious, keep the conversation flowing, ask questions, and let the glisten of the shoreline guide your journey. Goodbye.